Hey, what's up guys, TechTine here and I'm back again with a brand new video. Before I begin, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But with that being said, today we're going to be revisiting the 2025 Moto G Stylus. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of disappointed in the publicity that this phone has been getting, which is not a lot. So the reason that is because I feel like this phone has gone a little bit under the radar, even though to me personally, it's a really nice device from design to specs to camera to capabilities. So let's go ahead and get started. And one of the first things that I want to talk about here is the design itself, beginning with the IP rating. So this phone is rated for water and dust resistance, and it's a much better rating than the previous generation, which means that it can withstand water for about 30 minutes. I still don't recommend phones to be underwater, but it can if you're ever in a situation where that demands it. So yeah, so that's the first thing, water resistance. Other than that, as far as design goes, it follows a fundamentally built formula that Motorola has been relying on, which is this kind of vegan leather material. And so far in the past couple of months, this phone has did well as far as durability, and the sides do have this sort of kind of chrome finish to them, and they are still made out of plastic. You also have your power volume up and down button, and you still retain a headphone jack USB-C that is capable of 68 watt of super fast charging. We'll talk more about that in the kind of performance segment. You have your bottom facing speaker, of course, the star of the show, the stylus. And overall though, from a design perspective, it's something that you gotta respect. Did they change a lot from the previous generation? Not really, but to me, this feels a little bit more of an improved version upon the previous generation, right? Especially the color, in my opinion. This is definitely a fantastic color. So another big area where I feel like Motorola improved upon the previous generation, still to this day, it still feels like a premium display, and that's because it's slightly above 1080p, but it is a Super AMOLED display with somewhat of thin bezels. So this phone does have an 89.3 percent screen to body ratio, which is fantastic, and also it gets up to 3000 nits of intense high peak brightness. You also have support for HDR, 120 Hz of refresh rate, and again, like I said, it is an AMOLED display. Now, it does use Corning Gorilla Glass 3 as far as display protection, which may not be the best, but for what you would use this display for, as far as watching videos, browsing the Bell Web, and that anything that would require you to use this display, which is everything, is going to be somewhat of a fantastic experience. So I don't think you're going to be disappointed with this display whatsoever. And that's basically it. I don't even think a year from today you'll be disappointed from the display. So I stand by that. Now, the next conversation that I want to have is within the camera system. So you basically get a dual camera setup, and you also get this kind of extra sensor, which is not really that useful. But the main sensor is a 15 megapixel at f1.8. You also have a 13 megapixel ultra wide at f2.2. And I did do a full camera review. If you want to see it, it will be linked in the description below. But my thoughts on it really didn't change much from the past couple of months. Basically, when it comes to your natural sort of good lighting conditions, this phone performs very well. Switching between your main sensor to your ultra wide is going to be somewhat of a smooth experience. It does have a sort of a 2x digital zoom, but taking pictures under good lighting conditions will basically give you somewhat of good results. So the colors on here look good. The bokeh effect is nice. It's not really too over processed, so that's good. Now, is it perfect? Probably not. It does sometimes over sharpen the picture a little bit too much at times, which kind of would distract the focusing system on the phone. But overall though, as a camera, is it complete? Is it perfect? No. Is it good for the money that you're paying for this phone? Of course, I definitely agree with that statement. So that's where I'll leave the camera situation. If you do want to see a full dedicated camera review, I will leave it in the description below, so keep that in mind. But I do want to move on to the performance segment, and this phone does use the following specs, which are what you'd expect from a phone at this price point. So you get the Qualcomm Snapdragon 6 Gen 3 based on a 4nm. It is an octa-core chip, and you also get the Adreno 710 for your GPU, 128GB of storage with 8GB of RAM, a 5000 milliamp hour battery. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, it does support 68 watts of wired charging and 15 watts of wireless charging. Now, basically from a performance perspective, this phone does perform very well. It didn't really heat up intensely to where it was uncomfortable, but I did notice some thermal throttling here and there, especially when I'm gaming on the phone. So that's also something that I want you to keep in mind. Now, as far as the 68 watt of fast charging capability goes, I do have to put an asterisk on that. The reason that is because you do have to get Motorola's dedicated charger for you to be able to achieve that 68 watts, which I think we'll still get like 64, which is close enough. But if you get the standard chargers, the max I believe that you'll achieve is around 40 to 45 watts. So that's something to also keep in mind. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the star of the show, which is the stylus. Now, to be honest with you, I damn near forgot that it was there. And every single year I do the same thing. I get excited, I try my best to utilize it to the best of my ability, but I mean, is it useful? Yeah, I mean, for some people, it might be a tool that they'll use. For me personally, maybe I'll use it if I want to sign a document, or I want to use it to just because I'm bored of using the phone in a normal fashion. That's when I'll use it. But for the most part, I've been using my Moto G Stylus as just a phone without the stylus. So it's a fantastic tool. It's definitely something that I appreciate Motorola for just adding for the sake of argument. But for the most part, I would still live without it, to be honest with you. It's not the end of the world if they remove it next year, but then what would you call this phone, right? With that being said, now that it's been a couple of months since I've been using this phone, I wish it got a little bit more publicity than it does. So do I think it's a fantastic phone? Yes. The price point is $399, which is competitive to that of the Galaxy A36, and I did a comparison between them. I'll also leave it in the description below. Now, if they do bring up the price down to $299, it would be a fantastic deal. So with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will definitely catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.